I know your program's going to work for the long term? I get that question so much from people who call to ask about my sugar-free recovery program. So I'm going to give a short answer and I'm going to give a long answer. First of all, before that, welcome. If this is the first time you're watching me on a video, my name is Sippy Livna. I'm a nurse and certified food addiction counselor. And for over 25 years, I have been helping people recover from sugar and food addiction. And this question always comes up. How do I know it's going to work? So here's the short answer. You don't. The truth is that most people who are interested in a recovery program for sugar or food addiction have been around the block a few times, right? Maybe you've done a lot of diets, you've done other food addiction or sugar addiction recovery programs, and maybe some of them have worked, maybe some of them have worked for a while. You know what you should be doing. The problem is maybe that you just can't apply all the wonderful knowledge that you have, and somehow you can't get back on track. If this is you, this video is meant for you. So here's the thing. What people many times don't understand or don't accept is that relapse, slips, falling flat on your face into the food are part of the disease that is called addiction. And this is true for all addictions, not just sugar or food addiction or ultra-processed food addiction. This is true for drug addiction. It's true for alcohol addiction. It's true for cigarette addiction. Did you know that on average, there was research that on average, people quit smoking 8 times before they actually quit for good, which means that that's the average. So that means some people, maybe the first time or the second time, will quit and that's it, they're done. There are many people who try to quit again and again and again, and they keep trying again and again until it finally takes. The thing is, they don't give up. The ones who actually quit smoking, they don't give up until it takes for good. And it's the same thing with food addiction. Just with ultra-processed food addiction and sugar addiction, we live today in an environment that 24/7 is trying to convince us to have those foods, exact foods that we're addicted to, right? Eat me, drink me, eat me, drink me. That's the messaging our brain gets 24/7. So is it no wonder that people who are addicted to these foods relapse, maybe even often? My team and I make a huge effort to consistently put out high quality videos to help you on your way to health. If you're getting value from these, you can help us reach more people by liking, sharing, and commenting on this video. Thank you. But here's the thing. The SugarFree Recovery Program is geared to give you those long-term strategies, actions, and plans to help you get back on track as quickly as possible if you do have a relapse or a slip. And here's the other thing that I have to say. Sometimes it's hard to get back on the voyage of recovery from sugar and ultra-processed food addiction by ourselves. Sometimes when we're lying flat on the ground, we need somebody to reach out a hand and help us up again. And sometimes that hand needs to be a professional hand that knows exactly how to set you back on the way so that you can continue your journey to a happy, healthy life. If you have relapsed you detoxed off sugar, you were off sugar and junk, and you relapsed, remember how good it felt to be free from the obsession around these ultra-processed foods that we know are harming our health. Remember that freedom that we didn't have to think about, am I a good girl or a bad girl? I'm going to eat it, not eat it. That constant chattering, right? That it's like sort of like a washing machine on spin, right? Like we're not really present in our life. There's constantly this side conversation we're having about food. And what freedom it gives for people who this is part of their goal, to lose weight or to lose excess fat around in our body that makes us feel heavy and slows us down without having to diet, without having to starve ourselves, that it comes off gradually and it comes off in a pleasant way without going hungry. Remember how good it feels to be abstaining from foods that just make us feel bad, feel hungry all the time, but we're driven to eat them as if it's like the power of choice has been taken away. And then sometimes when that's the way it is, we need help to get back on track. That's what I'm here for. That's what the Sugar-Free Recovery Program is for people who feel like they are in the clutches of obsession around sweet and ultra-processed, starchy and ultra-processed foods. And many, many times with this will be very intelligent and accomplished people. So many times women and men will come to me and say, I don't understand. I know what I should be doing. I've been in so many programs. I know exactly what to do. And in other areas of my life, there is nothing that I set out to do that I haven't accomplished. But somehow it's like that croissant that beats me every time. I totally get it. And in the Sugar-Free Recovery Program, I explain how it is that happens. But we do have to understand that even if you know how that happens, relapse is part of the condition that is called addiction. And that doesn't mean that you're doomed forever to be obsessed and, and suffer the consequences of overconsumption of sugar and ultra-processed foods, be it overweight or other health like diabetes and, God forbid, the whole host of other diseases that consuming too much of these foods causes. That doesn't mean you're doomed to a life of suffering around these foods. It means that you need to brush off the dust, maybe ask for help if you can't do it on your own, and start again and start again. I want to give you from my own experience. I've been in recovery from food addiction for over 25 years. Does that mean that I never slipped? That I never relapsed? Of course I did. And in the first years, it was often, and it was for long periods of time sometimes. But because I was consistent, every time that I fell, I made sure to do again those actions, those strategies, those things that I needed to do in order to get back on track. And if I fell, I did it again. And if I fell, I did it again. And I asked for help. I asked for support. I went to a 12-step program for my support. I went to meetings. I asked for individual help from people. And I did what I needed to do to get back on track. It still happens today. But over the course of the time, because I was consistent, what I would define as a slip or a relapse, as time went on, it kept getting, first of all, the time that I was able to stay clean in between slips or relapses was longer and longer. The other thing is that the slips or relapses were not as intense. If maybe at the beginning it was over everything, then suddenly like I was maybe binging on chips, but natural flavored chips, but not on things with added sugar. And then I was able to manage to get off the junk, but I was binging on, I don't know what, whole wheat bread. And then I managed to no flour. And as time went on, my recovery got stronger and my slips and relapses got less intense, weaker and better. And the time in between them was great. And today I can say that it has been many years since I've put any things with added sugar or flour intentionally into my mouth. So that is wonderful, except, there's like a certain no. And today I stand before you that I can tell you that added sugar is not a part of my life for many, many years now. Does that mean I never slip or relapse of what my definitions of slips are? I do. It happens. I'm not perfect. But because I'm consistent, the intensity or the harm that happens, today, what I would consider a slip is what like 20 years ago would have been like amazing recovery for me. So we have to remember that this is a journey. And in a journey, sometimes we go off track. Sometimes we just are distracted and we decide to go off track. Sometimes it just happens. We get lost without even understanding how it happened. The same thing happens with recovery from food addiction. Sometimes people just started losing track of, losing sight of their priorities and making sure that they have an environment that supports their recovery. Sometimes it can happen because of some kind of trauma or crisis and we get off track and we need help getting back on. That's okay. That's what I'm here for. That's what the Sugar-Free Recovery Program is here for. To help people, yes, for the long term. And there are many people who do the Sugar-Free Recovery Program and it changes their life for good. But there are many who, even if they had a slip or a relapse, now they have the strategies and the understanding. This is a part of the condition. You ask for help, you brush off the dust, you get up again, and you keep moving on. And if you need to invest some time or effort or money in getting help in order to get back on track, just remember how good it felt to be in recovery, because it's so worth it. You're worth it. Thanks for listening to this video. And if you'd like more details about the Sugar-Free Recovery Program, you can check it out in the link below. Bye-bye.